Hello, you may be wondering why it's a little cluttered over here and a little bare over there. I'm actually in the process of moving in the near future, so pardon the setup. I swear when it's all said and done, it'll be looking much nicer and organized than this. If there's one thing I learned these past couple-ish years, just making my way through Chinese cinema, it's that Andy Lau is an amazing actor. And 2023's The Movie Emperor, or Mr. Red Carpet as it's also known as, only strengthens that claim. This is the other movie I watched at the Asian Film Festival of Dallas before I went to go see Tokyo Cowboy. The Movie Emperor is directed by comedy filmmaker and co-star Ning Hao, and it was apparently a long time coming as Andy Lau actually funded Hao's 2006 comedy Crazy Stone through his new Asian Star Director plan. And now, here they are, over a decade and a half later. It was fated to be, it seems. The film is a satire on the phase of stardom where you're not quite reaching the heights you were before. Andy Lau plays an exaggerated version of himself who's dealing with a divorce before attending what's essentially the Hong Kong equivalent of the Oscars. What I really love about the scene is how they tease the audience by suggesting that Jackie Chan will appear in the movie, but when they announce the winner for Best Actor, not only does Jackie Chan win, he couldn't make it. So Andy, or Brother Chi as he's also called in this movie, has to step up and take this place. And it's this part in the film where its themes kind of start to bleed through and become more apparent. We get this idea that a beloved veteran actor, such as Andy, has been in the industry for so long, with plenty to show for, including respect amongst his peers. Apparently it's not enough for him. He wants the world to know that he's one of the best to ever do it, and it's only gonna take that award for it to finally come into fruition. Which is really funny when you consider that Andy Lau is a multi-award winning actor. Throughout the earlier parts of the film, Andy does a few commercial appearances, including one that seems to homage like one of his older films. I don't know which one. If anyone can name the movie where he points a gun to his head in front of a bunch of, police officers, I would really appreciate it because it looks super cool and I'd love to see it. And obviously, this is to parallel certain commercials, like that one Wayne's World Super Bowl ad. I think it was for Uber Eats or something. He does a little yo, which is like 666 in Chinese. From time to time, we'd even see Andy relaxing in his room or trailer, and on the TV, there are atrocities being broadcast, and the guy just doesn't bother to react. He just kind of just sits there and takes it all in, just as a way to kind of show you how far up his own ass he is, and how these types really just want to exist in their own bubbles so long as they're not like affected by it, which is pretty dark. There's also a scene where he's in some controversy regarding a horse stunt that like easily could have injured it, and instead of apologizing like an actual like decent human being, he donates a ton of money to a horse lovers charity, which is what they actually call it in the film, and it just gets him into even more trouble. One of my favorite responses to this act of insincerity is when someone says, "Oh, so money is your way of apologizing? You should come hit me instead." But all of this is just, fluff and playful jabs, and the central narrative is focused on the production of a new film about, in Andy and Hal's words, a loving father and his daughter, which sounds like total Oscar bait, basically, which is supplemented by Andy trying to learn what it's like to be a peasant by buying a pig. Now, this pig is actually super important as it's meant to reflect the well-being of Andy, who's really just going about it aimlessly, unsure what it really wants to do, and of course is a pretty high maintenance. The ending really plays into that, but I will not spoil it. Also, a potential trigger warning in that regard, because the ending is a little upsetting. This also really plays into a visual motif the movie has with how it uses the colors red and blue. Whenever red is on screen, it's meant to evoke this idea that Andy is being watched, whether he's putting himself on display or being exposed. Like, Whenever he's on the red carpet, or whether it's the red light from a camera, meanwhile blue is meant to reflect his true self, the one often associated with who he is as a person and where he is in his career, like in science where he's promoting a product, or when he's surrounded by blue screens. And my personal favorite, a blue balloon with a smiley face on it that's tied to a red string, which slowly deflates as the story progresses, as this sort of sign of self-destruction. Like, I can talk forever about just how clever the cinematography is in this movie, but it really just goes to show how a simple comedy such as this can have a lot of layers. Admittedly, I don't have a whole lot to say about the cast in this movie, aside from that everyone's pretty great here. Along with Andy and Hao is Pelson Latman, Rima Zaidan, Kelly Lin, Tony Leung Ka-fai, also known as Big Tony, who's not to be confused with Tony Leung Chiu-wai, who is Little Tony. A good number of those performers are pretty prolific in their own ways and actually have really solid chemistry with Andy, making for some moments that are both pretty hilarious and memorable. Wang Xing is in this movie too, and I just find that really amusing. All in all, the movie Emperor is really solid. It's a very unique kind of satire that you don't really see often, and as a fan of Andy Lau, I really enjoyed it. Apparently, this movie didn't perform very well when it premiered in China, despite garnering some recognition at various film festivals, which is unfortunate, but at the same time kind of ironic considering what the movie's about. But I suppose compared to the rest of Andy Lau's filmography and others involved, I guess I would rather rewatch Future Cops, Infernal Affairs, or Running Out of Time again. Like, I wouldn't say it's up to that level, but it's pretty genius in its own ways. That'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just so having to see this movie, comment down below, and if you haven't, let me know if this interests you. Want to give a shout out to my channel members and supporters on Patreon, where if you guys like what you see, and if you want early access to videos and exclusive content, feel free to click the link below. Also, my first ever sci-fi fantasy novel, Titanious, Book 1, Rise of the Titans, is available now. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Thrift Books, Abe Books. Got a order link in the description. It'll take you to, whichever one of those platforms you so choose. It's got a super robot who battles giant monsters. It's got some elements of Greek mythology, a little bit of, Shakespeare in there. So if you're on board with any of that, go get yourself a copy. I would really appreciate it. Other than that, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and see you guys next time. Take it easy, everyone.